Struggling with streaky backgrounds? I'll show you how to paint a smooth watercolor flat wash, perfect, soft, even color without the stress. Let's get started.
So I drew my daisy out, and I'm just going to go for a nice even blue wash over the background. The trick is to mix enough paint so you don't run out. If you run out, you will never get the same tone of color and it will not look good. Okay, so I'm going to use phthalo blue, and I'm just putting this in a little ramekin that I got from the dollar store, nothing expensive. I'm putting lots of ultramarine blue in with a little bit of the phthalo blue and lots of water. I'm going to apply this on dry paper. We're going to take our paint. I'm going to start in the smallest areas first and dab your brush off on paper towel if you think you've got too much paint. So I'm simply going to start here in the corner, and I've got lots of paint and water on my brush, and I'm going to pull the watercolor out. If you notice, I'm keeping lots of water. You see that bead? I want to keep that bead going, and I'm simply going to move it around. That way my edge doesn't dry out. This is a trick here. You take a damp brush, no water, and you simply suck that leftover liquid with the paint, the water and the paint, up so it doesn't run back into your wash and cause a back run. Once we get all of that up, we'll move on to another area. I'm just going to move to this little area here, just this little triangle, and remember, when you're doing this, don't even have your water near you. Do not stick your brush back into water. You're simply only going to be putting your brush on the paper towel to take some off or in the mixture to get paint. If something happened you did stick it in the water by mistake, simply squeeze your brush, the water out of your brush with a paper towel, and then go back into the mixture. So here, again, I started the shortest area and I've got that nice bead. You have to tilt your board. You want the paint and water to come down, but don't put too much that it rolls down. I would practice on something first. You're just going to keep working it around, tilting in the way that you want your water to run. Right here, I'm going to work into that little corner, and then I'm going to bring it around, and I'm not going to reload for this other corner. I've got lots of that bead, so I can just kind of pull that. Make sure you get any water that's going stray. I'm going to pull that there, and then I'll look and clean up that water on the tape again. There we go. Remember, just a damp brush. Blot your brush before and during picking up. Just keep blotting. So I'll move on to the other little spots, just painting around my petals and try to keep the whole edge wet. If you outline and then go back, that outline will dry. So you've got to keep that paint and that water moving. And I'm just doing all of these the same. I'm pulling down towards the bottom. That bead is always there, because if that edge starts to dry out, the next time you go near it with that water, that dry edge is going to grab the water out of the paint, and it's going to cause a big mark or a line or a back run. So this isn't something that you can start and set down and walk away from, unless you complete it one little section or something. But even then, I wouldn't leave it too long, because the water will start to evaporate out of your paint, and your paint will be a different consistency, and you will never get the same color again. All right, so you noticed I tilted the board in the way that I'm painting down with the water. And you notice when I tilted it, the water kind of pools at the bottom. You have to be careful. Make sure you don't tilt it by the flower and have it run the other way across your flower. And it's carrying this bead that's going to keep your background flat and even. This is exactly a flat wash. You're just doing it around a flower. So I'm going to keep coming this way, and I'm going to start in the smaller area and slowly work around, well, not slowly, but I'll work around the edge of the flower going towards the stem. And if anybody has any questions, just drop them in the comments below, and I'll take a look and answer them if there are any. This is one of the basic techniques of watercolor, doing flat washes, and you might think that, oh, I'll never need that, or I'm not going to practice that. You would not believe how often this comes in handy. Or even if you're doing glazing over top of other colors, you're basically putting a wash over top of a dry color. Your color is the same as your paper. You want to go over it even and smooth. You don't want to start and stop and fiddle with your brush too much. If you do, you're going to disturb the paint below. So this is a really good technique to practice. Okay, we're coming around the corner there, and we're going to be almost done. And you see how the water I'm moving the board, it keeps kind of flowing towards the way I've got the board angled. And the more you do it, it'll become second nature. You won't even have to think about it. And you see I've got quite a bit of that water. I see it sneaking up there. We're going to grab that and just take that off, because if I tilt my board back the other way, it could run into the part that we haven't touched in a bit and it can disturb it. This is where you don't want too much of a bead here at the end, because you know you're painting it up in. So I'm going to tilt my board up that way and have it come down the stem. So we just grab that one last little bit, and then we just have to set it flat, let it dry.
If this helped you feel more confident with flat washes, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy calm, beginner-friendly tutorials like this, feel free to subscribe for more.